All right.
Okay, hi Arusha.
Hi, Lily.
Do you mind to introduce yourself?
Of course. My name is Arusha Nirvan. I'm an exchange student from MIT who's come to ETH for one semester. And unfortunately, that semester is over and I'll be going home soon. But I'm studying architecture and I'm in my third year of bachelor's. Yeah.
Amazing. What a coincidence that we met through our studies. We actually had the same course in the design studio.
Mm-hmm.
We were in Japan studio. And I wanted to ask you, what has been the difference to your university, or the biggest difference, and did you like it at ETH?
Mm-hmm.
What did you not like? What did you like better at your university?
Okay, let's see. Well, the biggest difference is, starting geographically, I've been studying in the US, and the university culture there is quite different. People are, generally speaking, younger. You have 17-year-olds in their first year, and drinking is illegal.
Oh yeah, big
Right.
difference.
Yeah, so it changes things. And mostly students are Americans, so they have a different worldview. Of course, there are international students as well, but not as many. I felt that it's quite a bit more international here. You have students from mostly Europe, but then again, many different countries. The biggest difference for me personally in my experience has been the sheer amount of other architecture students that I've met. Because at MIT, the undergraduate population in the architecture department is tiny, really not that many people at all. There's only 6 other people in my year. And
Oh, that's crazy.
and yeah, all the undergraduates combined, that's probably just 20 people. And at ETH, it's 300 per year.
Yeah.
So the difference in scale, wow. Like, I'm making friends who are interested in the same subjects as me, which is unique. Yeah.
True. And at ETH, it's kind of nearly as a cult. Like, you can trade with beer. And
So yeah, speaking of like beers as well, like everyone here is just drinking all the time.
that sounds horrible.
But the difference is people are drinking out here in the open. Like, you have a bar
Yeah,
on
that's
campus,
true.
like alumni lounge, you can buy a beer there.
That's true.
That's crazy.
Cultural difference.
Cultural difference
Yeah.
for sure. You can like share a drink with your professors, even as an undergraduate student. That's unusual.
And we even talked
Yeah.
about languages and how it's more common that you speak here 3, 4, 5 languages, and in
Yes.
the US it's just one, right? Or
Yeah, most
maybe
people just speak
2.
English.
Yeah.
If you're coming from somewhere else, or if your parents are immigrants, there's a chance you'll speak 2 languages. But the default language everyone uses is English. Here, it depends. It's been interesting for me because English is, it's a strong language for me. I speak it fluently. And Swiss German, obviously not very well at all, or at all.
Well, now you do a little bit.
Now, maybe a few phrases here and there, sure. But it's an alien sound to me. Like, I don't understand it. And
It's a
so,
weird language.
yeah, when I'm navigating my daily life, I don't understand what strangers are saying, so I can kind of zone out a bit.
Do you have a core memory or anything you like, of this semester? Or you don't want to talk about it?
Lots has happened, no? What has happened even?
Would you even recommend it?
I would highly recommend it. This exchange program, I don't regret it at all. I've had such a good time. But more than an educational experience, it's been a cultural experience.
And a personal one.
And a
no?
personal
like
experience.
the growth.
Yeah.
Just being around with new people, I can imagine, and
Yeah.
a new setting. You learn a lot in a new studio, or hopefully learn a lot. It depends,
Yeah.
I think, where you go. But in our case, I think we were really lucky.
I think I've grown up quite a bit in these past few months. I've learned to live alone by myself without like a huge support network, without like a lot of undergraduates around me. I feel a bit more independent, grocery shopping, taking the train, cooking for myself, going out for drinks. Yeah.
I always had the image of you that you were a really independent and strong woman. I never doubted anything
Thank
of
you.
that. Yeah, and I was impressed from the first second I saw you.
Oh.
And I knew you were going to be a great architect one day.
Oh, thank you. I feel the same way about you, if only based on how nice your outfits are.
Oh,
You know?
you're so sweet.
You're a put together person for sure.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I would say another big difference is how much importance is given to the studio here.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely has more weight because it's like 14 credits versus all the other classes, which are 2-3 credits. Not a lot. At MIT, it's structured a bit differently. By default, every class is worth 12 units.
Okay.
And that corresponds roughly to hours per week. So you spend about like 12 hours per week per class, and most people take 4 to 5 classes.
Oh, wow.
So like, 48 to 60 units.
But that's a lot, isn't it?
It's not a lot. No, I think it's quite normal to take 4 classes. Yeah. Okay. And then your studio is worth 24. So it's worth twice as much as a regular class. So obviously it has more importance, but it's not everything. It's still at the most only half your credits, not like 2/3. Yeah.
At the end of the semester here, it feels like the studio is everything, and no one goes to the classes anymore.
Yeah.
And this is, I don't know, in comparison with the culture, like of not sleeping, little to no eating, I don't know, partying or drinking, and then the workload that we have to do. But is it similar to MIT?
There is a high workload at MIT, but it's not so heavy at the end like it is here. Here it's like you're relaxed through most of the semester, and then in the last couple of weeks everything piles on, right?
Yeah.
I would say at MIT it's more consistent because every week you have something due, some assignment. Okay. So it's like a more consistent pressure, and as long as you're putting in the work throughout the semester, you have no reason to be too stressed at the end.
But that's great.
Yeah. But the system works for some people, it doesn't work for others.
That's true, right? That's true.
Yeah, also the exams session timing is different. At MIT, you finish your semester and the very next week you have exams and then you're done. You don't have this like awkward gap in between, which I think is really strange here because then you can't enjoy your break very much because you're stressed about your exams.
True. But also like when you imagine yourself being in the situation where you have to pick design studio submission and you don't sleep for a couple of days or so, and then having the exams right the week after in the same week, I think is too much. So therefore I am glad for that break sometimes. Then you can do some holiday like a week or two and then start studying for the
makes sense,
rest of the weeks. But it's true, we don't have
actually the final review for our studios happens during that exam week.
Oh my goodness.
So you have it at the same time as you have your other exams.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But I don't really have many exams in architecture, to be honest. Most of my exams have been in other subjects like chemistry, physics, calculus, all of that.
That's a big difference though, because we have like, now I'm in my 3rd year and this is the least amount of exams I have are 5. But if I don't pass the exams, I'm not gonna study, like I have to pass them to study further. I cannot miss. But now it's like 5 subjects, but they're splitted all together, need to get a minimum grade of 4. This is what you need so you can pass.
I see. Most of the required classes for the undergraduate in architecture at MIT are project based, not exam based. So you submit something at the end, either like a studio project, or for one of my classes I had to submit a chair. That was my final assignment.
So cool.
Yeah. So it's not normally like a sit down written exam, and I prefer that. It's more relaxed. Yeah.
You have any questions that you want to ask me
regarding ETH? And do you think you'd ever come to the US for an exchange program?
I would love to, if it's only just to visit you, and then if I can learn something, it's a win-win, I think. Well, I'm definitely going to try it in the future. Okay. To apply for an exchange semester. It's on my plan, but in my master's for the bachelor, I'm too late. We need to apply 1 year at least in advance.
Makes sense.
And then let's see if I can make it or not. The pity is, in our case, we need to have the grades from the first year.
That's what I've heard.
Yes, because then the academics can be compared all over the world, but it's a bit a pity because there's no second chance if you messed up your first year. Exactly. But the good thing is the design grades are counted in as well. Okay. So if you're really good there, it balances out. Exactly. But in physics, I sucked at the first year. Which is a pity, because in the second year I was there the best. Why happens?
Yeah, but it's nice that ETH has so many different options for exchange programs,
That's true.
right? Because I've heard people are applying to go to Singapore or like the Netherlands or everywhere. Yeah, right now this exchange with ETH that we have for undergrads in architecture is new. I'm only the second person to come. Last year was the first person.
Well, I'm really glad that our paths crossed through this.
Yes, and actually now next year there's going to be a few more because I've heard from back home that a lot of people are applying now.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so it's becoming popular, yeah.
Do you already know what you want to do after your studies?
Yeah, vaguely. I don't have any like concrete plans because I still have one more year left. I'll graduate in 2025. Then I want to work for a year at least, an internship somewhere, maybe in Europe. And then I'm going to do my master's, hopefully also in Europe, because I'm realizing that I want to slowly like move away from the US. Not so sure that I want to settle down there. Yeah,
I understand, but I think a lot of people in Europe can imagine themselves living abroad as well. Like,
and I think I'm definitely going to apply to ETH for my master's.
Oh yeah, we'd love to have you back again. I'm already missing you next semester.
I would love to be back, honestly. But I know it's not easy to get into the master's program, but we'll keep my fingers crossed.
Well, if you keep doing the way you're doing things right now, I have no doubts that you will get in. If you want to, then still, like, what can change in a year?
That's true.
Yeah. So I thank you a lot for taking the time being here with me. And we're currently at Vitra, I did not tell you, in Basel, in the Vitra Design Museum, or fancy IKEA.
Yes.
Yeah, but thanks a lot for the interview. And I hope you enjoyed and did not make you feel uncomfortable.
Oh, of course not. No, I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be interviewed by you. Thanks again for showing me around Basel today. Yeah.
My pleasure. Anytime. Thank you, Arusha.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.